You ever had someone you trusted with your soul turn their back on you? Someone who knew your dreams, your fears, your late-night hopes whispered over coffee, and then used them against you? That kind of betrayal cuts deeper than a knife. It's not just a wound, it's a reckoning. My name's Mia, and this is my story. Not the polished version you see on social media, but the raw, messy truth of how I fell, broke, and rose again. I'm not here to sell you a dream or sugarcoat the struggle. I'm here to tell you that pain, when you face it, can become power. That the fire of betrayal, when you walk through it, can forge something unbreakable. This isn't just my story, it's for anyone who's ever been stabbed in the heart and wondered if they'd ever trust again. I was 27, living in a small apartment with big dreams. I wanted to build something, a business, a legacy, something that screamed, Mia was here. My best friend, Sarah, was my rock. We'd been inseparable since college, the kind of friends who finished each other's sentences. She was the one I called at 2 a.m. when self-doubt crept in, the one who cheered loudest when I sketched out my idea for a sustainable fashion brand. I trusted her with everything, my business plan, my savings, my vision. We were going to build it together, or so I thought. Napoleon Hill once said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." I believed in that dream. I believed in us. But belief, I learned, can be a double-edged sword when you place it in the wrong hands. It started small, a missed meeting here, a vague excuse there. Sarah began pulling away, her texts growing cold. I brushed it off, told myself she was busy. Then one day, I saw it, a post on social media, her face beaming next to a logo that looked eerily familiar. My logo. My designs. My dream, repackaged under her name. She'd taken my business plan, my savings, everything I'd poured my heart into, and launched it as her own. Worse, she'd told our mutual friends I'd stolen her idea, painting me as the villain. I confronted her, heart pounding, voice shaking. She just shrugged, her eyes empty, and said, "Business is business, Mia. You were too slow." That moment, standing in her apartment, felt like the ground caving beneath me. My best friend, my sister by choice, had betrayed me. I walked away, not with anger, but with a hollow ache that whispered, "You're not enough." Betrayal doesn't just break your trust, it breaks your world. I went home and sat in the dark, staring at the walls of my tiny apartment. The dreams I'd scribbled in notebooks felt like cruel jokes. My bank account was nearly empty, my reputation tarnished, my heart shattered. I'd given Sarah everything, my time, my money, my soul, and she'd left me with nothing. I stopped answering calls, stopped leaving the house. The mirror became my enemy, reflecting a woman I didn't recognize, defeated, small, lost. Napoleon Hill wrote about the power of desire, how it can move mountains. But what do you do when your desire feels like ash? When the people you love most turn your passion into poison? I didn't have answers. All I had was pain, and it was suffocating. But here's the thing about pain, it's a teacher, if you let it be. One night, I was lying on my couch, scrolling through old photos of Sarah and me, torturing myself with memories. I stumbled on a quote from Thomas Edison, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Something stirred in me, a flicker of defiance. Edison didn't quit when his experiments failed. He didn't crumble when others doubted him. He kept going, not because he was fearless, but because he believed failure was just a step toward success. I realized I had a choice. I could let Sarah's betrayal define me, or I could use it as fuel. I chose fuel. I chose fire. I chose to rise. That choice wasn't a magic fix. It didn't erase the hurt or fill my bank account. But it gave me something more powerful, a spark of belief. Napoleon Hill called it definiteness of purpose, knowing exactly what you want and refusing to let anything stop you. My purpose wasn't just to rebuild my business, it was to rebuild myself. I started small, because small is all I could manage. I borrowed a friend's laptop and began researching sustainable fashion again. I watched free YouTube tutorials on design, marketing, anything I could get my hands on. I worked nights at a coffee shop, pouring lattes to pay rent, and spent my days sketching new designs. Every step felt like climbing a mountain, but every step was mine. No one could take that from me, not Sarah, not anyone. Belief is a seed, but it needs soil to grow. Mine was nourished by discipline. Hill said, strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle. I set a rule, no excuses, no days off. If I was tired, I worked. If I was scared, I worked. If self-doubt screamed, you'll fail again, I worked louder. I started a small Instagram page, posting my designs with shaky hands. At first, it was crickets, just a few likes from strangers. But I kept posting, kept refining, kept learning. Slowly, people noticed. A local boutique ordered a batch of my shirts. Then another. My followers grew from 10 to 100, then 1,000. Each sale, each comment, was a brick in the foundation of my new dream. I wasn't just building a brand, I was building trust in myself. Discipline turned into momentum, but momentum needs vision to soar. I began to see beyond my tiny apartment, beyond the pain of Sarah's betrayal. I saw a brand that didn't just sell clothes but told a story, my story, of rising from ashes. I named it Ember, a nod to the fire that forged me. Napoleon Hill wrote about the mastermind principle, surrounding yourself with people who lift you up. I didn't have Sarah anymore, but I found others, a mentor who taught me supply chains, a graphic designer who believed in my vision, a small team who worked as hard as I did. They weren't just colleagues, they were proof that trust could be rebuilt, that not everyone would betray me. Together, we turned Ember into something real, a brand with a mission to empower, to remind people that their pain could become their power. Vision is nothing without action. Hill said, do not wait, the time will never be just right. I didn't wait for confidence or money or permission. I pitched Ember to investors, my voice trembling but my heart steady. I got rejections, dozens of them. But I remembered Henry Ford, who faced countless setbacks before revolutionizing the auto industry. Each no was just a detour, not a dead end. One day, a small investor took a chance on me. That funding let us scale, new designs, a website, a pop-up shop. Ember wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. We hit $50,000 in sales our first year, then $200,000 the next. But the real victory wasn't the money, it was standing in our shop, watching customers wear my designs, knowing I'd turned betrayal into beauty. Action breeds gratitude, and gratitude transforms perspective. I started each day listing 3 things I was thankful for: my team, my customers, my second chance. Hill believed gratitude aligns you with the universe's abundance, and I felt it. Even the pain of Sarah's betrayal became something to be grateful for, not because it was fair, but because it forced me to become more than I ever thought I could be. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination, yet he built an empire of dreams. My betrayal wasn't the end, it was the beginning. I began giving back, mentoring young designers, sharing my story at local events. Every time I spoke, I saw nods in the audience, people who'd been betrayed, doubted, broken. They were my why, my purpose beyond profit. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring reality, it means adapting to it. The fashion world is brutal, full of trends that shift overnight and competitors who play dirty. I faced supply chain issues, late shipments, a website crash that cost us thousands. Each challenge tested me, but I leaned on Hill's idea of applied faith, trusting that every problem has a solution if you keep moving forward. When our supplier bailed, I spent 48 hours cold calling new ones. When our site crashed, I learned basic coding to help my team fix it. Adaptability wasn't just a skill, it was survival. Like Abraham Lincoln, who failed in business and politics before becoming a legend, I learned that setbacks are just setups for comebacks. Resilience is the heart of transformation. There were days I wanted to quit, when a bad review stung, when bills piled up, when Sarah's face popped up in a competitor's ad, flaunting her stolen success. But resilience isn't about feeling strong, it's about showing up anyway. Hill said, every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. My adversity was betrayal, my advantage was clarity. I knew who I was, what I stood for. Ember grew, not despite the pain, but because of it. We opened a second shop, then a third. Our designs landed in magazines, on runways. But the moment that hit hardest? Standing on a stage, accepting an award for Emerging Entrepreneur, and seeing my team cheer. That was power, not over Sarah, but over my own doubts. Learning became my lifeline. Hill believed in lifelong learning, and I lived it. I read books on leadership, studied my industry, listened to my customers. I learned from failures, like a design flop that cost us $10,000, and from successes, like a viral campaign that doubled our followers. I learned from people, my mentor's wisdom, my team's creativity, even my critics' sharp words. Learning wasn't just about skills, it was about growth. Like Andrew Carnegie, who rose from a telegraph boy to a steel magnate by absorbing knowledge, I soaked up every lesson life threw at me. Each one made me stronger, sharper, ready for the next challenge. The journey never ends, but it changes you. Today, Ember is more than a brand, it's a movement. We've donated thousands to sustainability programs, empowered dozens of young designers, and built a community that believes in second chances. I don't hate Sarah anymore. Her betrayal was a gift in disguise, a painful but necessary push toward my purpose. Napoleon Hill said, "Your big opportunity may be right where you are now." Mine was in the ashes of betrayal, in the quiet moments when I chose to keep going. I turned pain into power, not because I'm special, but because I refuse to quit. And you, yes, you, listening to this, you have that same power. You're not defined by who hurt you or what broke you. You're defined by what you do next. So, what's it gonna be? Will you let betrayal bury you, or will you let it build you? The choice is yours, but I know what I'd choose. I'd choose the fire. I'd choose the fight. I'd choose to rise, again and again, until the world knows my name. You've got a dream inside you, a spark no one can steal. Fan it. Feed it. Let it burn bright enough to light your way. The pain you feel today? It's not your end. It's your beginning. Take that first step, no matter how small. Believe in your vision, no matter how distant. Trust in your strength, no matter how fragile it feels. You are more than your wounds. You are a force, a legacy, a story waiting to be written. Now go write it.